Where can you find Magic Kingdom's best shortcuts, best ride seats, best snacks, and best bathrooms? We're hitting you with the best things to do in Magic Kingdom during your next trip today on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and today we are in Magic Kingdom, yay, to explore the things you should absolutely, totally, 110% prioritize in this park to make your visit so much better. Okay, I am excited. Let's jump right in. First up, we are going to talk shortcuts. Why take the long way when time is money in Disney World and you could walk right down the middle of Easy Street, my friends? While Magic Kingdom's park layout isn't overly complicated, many of those main pathways get crowded and bottlenecked with lots of guests, which is why we like to take these shortcuts to get to where we're going instead. Tron Light Cycle Run has a path that you need to know about. It's a sneaky walkway that opened up in 2023. I guess I should say reopened because it's always been there. It's just that it was closed for a long time during all that construction. It starts near the Barnstormer in Storybook Circus and snakes its way underneath the new Tron coaster. Once you reach the end, you'll be spit out by the ride entrance and the Energy Bites snack kiosk. Now, those of us who remember back in the day, this used to run from Space Mountain over to Toontown, right? Remember? Of course you do. Now, this is a great way to evade all the heavy foot traffic in the Storybook area itself so you can get to Tomorrowland really fast. Now, don't forget the Rivers of America walkway. This specific boardwalk starts in Liberty Square and basically runs parallel to the main drag of Frontierland. Most guests seem to stick to the main road instead of taking this little side path. Big mistake. Huge. The Rivers of America walkway is often less busy than the main thoroughfare in Frontierland. That being said, crowds do pick up along this path whenever a parade or cavalcade is passing through, since it becomes the only way to get around the hoopla. And here's a double shortcut feature for you. Those two cut-throughs. These two pathways will save you tons of time when traveling from land to land, especially on busier days. The first is found just where Liberty Square transitions into Frontierland, or in Adventureland near the entrance to the Swiss Family Treehouse, depending on which side you're coming from. This covered area leads to restrooms, found more on the Adventureland side, and is a fast, easy way to save a ton of steps if you're getting from one land to the other. The second cross-through is down near Aloha Isle on the Adventureland side, which comes out between Frontier Mercantile and the entrance to Country Bear Musical Jamboree on the Frontierland side. Then there's the Liberty Square Gazebo Path. This is another pathway that few people know about and even fewer people use. It's located near Ye Olde Christmas Shop, where it's all Christmas all year round. You enter the pathway next to the Caricatures kiosk, which will take you behind the store, past Liberty Square Gazebo, and exit out near the entrance to Adventureland. This is an awesome path that's going to help you avoid the crowds if the parade is going on or the fireworks are about to start, because it helps you go around that main hub in Magic Kingdom without having to cut right through it. It also kind of cuts the actual distance that you have to go. Tomorrowland Terrace was, who knows, a quick service restaurant that hasn't been operational during the daytime for quite a while now. However, the pavilion is still a great secret shortcut from Main Street USA to Tomorrowland. Just enter the walkway over by the Plaza restaurant and follow through the restaurant till you come out by the famous purple wall. This path is going to drop you off next to Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, and don't forget there's a great couple of bathrooms in and among this shortcut that you can stop at. And then of course there's always the Walt Disney World Railroad you can take to cut down on your steps between lands. The railroad has 3 different stations. You've got the one on Main Street USA with a station located right above the front entrance. You've got one in Frontierland just past the new Tiana's Bayou Adventure. More on that later. And you've got one in Fantasyland and Storybook Circus right next to the Casey Jr. Splash and Soak station. Now you can take this to get around the park without having to battle the crowds. We're almost there, everyone, and it's almost time to make a splash in the bayou. Per the release of this video, Tiana's Bayou Adventure has opened for cast member previews and is just about to open for annual pass holder DVC member previews too. But the ride won't open for everybody until June 28th, which really isn't too terribly far away either. But in order to ride the re-themed log flume, you're gonna need to know how to access its queue when it first opens up. Disney announced that Tiana's Bayou Adventure, when it opens in Frontierland, will have a virtual queue via the My Disney Experience app. This has become Disney's go-to strategy for managing demand for popular and brand new rides, including another Magic Kingdom attraction, Tron Light Cycle Run. You can join the virtual queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure at 7 a.m. or 1 p.m. You do not have to be in Magic Kingdom to join the 7 a.m. queue, but you do have to be inside Magic Kingdom to join the 1 p.m. one. To To join, open the app to the homepage and locate the virtual queue section. It's one of the first sections you'll see when you scroll down on that homepage. I know, not everyone's a huge fan of virtual queue setups. It's nerve-wracking and it always books up really, really fast. But Disney has said while a standby queue will not be available during the attraction's initial opening days, they expect to open a standby queue soon after the attraction's opening. So it sounds like the virtual queue isn't expected to stick around for too long. But virtual queue or not, you can bypass the ride's main queue by snagging a lightning lane for it through the premium Disney Genie Plus service. Now, this actually diverges from what we're used to. Both Tron and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind and Epcot, which are the other virtual queue attractions, have individual lightning lanes that you can purchase if you want to skip over their virtual queues. But in Tiana's case, the standard Genie Plus purchase is going to be what you're going to get. Basically, Splash Mountain used to be part of Genie Plus, and so Tiana's is just taking its place. It's also going to be part of Genie Plus. You don't have to get an individual lightning lane for it. But just make sure that when you purchase Genie Plus at 7 a.m. that morning, you are booking Tiana's Bayou Adventure with your Genie Plus to get that lightning lane, because if you don't, that thing's going to book up really, really fast. And guess what else is coming back in honor of this big opening jubilee? Beignets. Tiana's famous beignets are going to be available in Magic Kingdom starting on the opening day of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, June 28th. The beignets will be served at Golden Oak Outpost and the Friar's Nook, and we've also heard from cast members there'll be a couple of other places too. Now, if they just bring back the Wendell's Bear Claw to the Westward Ho kiosk, then I'd really be cooking with grease. Okay, let's follow up on that Genie Plus point with another one quickly. We mentioned lightning lanes briefly, but let's go ahead and dissect them a little bit more. I don't always say that Disney Genie Plus is a necessary purchase, but when it comes to Magic Kingdom, it really can be useful. Magic Kingdom has the most attractions for you to hit up in a day of any of the parks. And if you don't want to kill a lot of time waiting in the main queue line for each of them, then that line bypassing privilege is going to be one worth saving for. Genie Plus becomes available to purchase at midnight, and you can start making your first selection right at 7 a.m. Then you're going to be able to make your next selection after 120 minutes, starting when the park opens, or once your return time window has ended, or after you've used the selection you had and are ready to book another. Individual lightning lane selections, on the other hand, are a pay-per-ride service for the most popular attractions, which aren't covered under Genie Plus. In Magic Kingdom, 2 rides use the individual lightning lane system, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Tron Light Cycle Run. But keep in mind that Tron also has a virtual queue, which is free to use, instead of a traditional standby line. Now, here's the thing about lightning lanes. They book up. So even if you've purchased Genie Plus for your whole family, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed a lightning lane for every ride if you wait too long before you book the popular ones. So which lightning lanes should you be prioritizing? Each day we've got our reporters in the park looking at those Genie Plus lightning lanes and seeing how quickly they fill up. And in good conscience, I can totally recommend grabbing a lightning lane for Peter Pan's Flight first, after your Tiana's Bayou Adventure selection, that is. You're probably still going to want to prioritize that one above all else, probably for the next few months if you're interested in riding it. Now, Peter Pan's Flight is very nostalgic and well-loved, and the capacity of this ride is pretty low. That means that even though this ride runs on an Omnimover system, meaning it's constantly running, the line still moves a little more slowly than a lot of other rides, so getting a lightning lane for it can be worth your while. Another good option to select first or second or third is Jungle Cruise, since it's also a nostalgic ride that tends to keep pretty high wait times throughout the day. The My Disney Experience app is always handy no matter what park you're visiting, but it might be the most handy in Magic Kingdom since it has an extra handy-dandy feature that the other parks don't have just yet. In Magic Kingdom, you can track down specific charging stations via the My Disney Experience app. Just go to the search button, type in mobile charging stations, and voila! Mobile charging stations everywhere. If you choose Find on Map, you'll be able to track down the closest charging station to you. Disney notes that all of these stations have both AC and USB outlets, but you'll need to bring your own charging cable. Right now, it looks like Disney has only uploaded the charging station data for Magic Kingdom, but we're still hoping that they include information on the other 3 parks soon. Need a charger that's more on the go? You can always pick up a fuel rod charger from one of the park's various fuel rod kiosks instead. The My Disney Experience app can also point you in the direction of the nearest fuel rod kiosk, but just because we love ya and we want to give you all those kiosk locations right now, you can find fuel rods in Magic Kingdom at Pecos Bill Tall Tale Inn and Cafe in Frontierland, Curtain Call Collectibles on Main Street, USA, Big Top Souvenirs at Storybook Circus in Fantasyland, Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe in Tomorrowland, Tomorrowland Launch Depot, ditto, Merchant of Venus, again Tomorrowland, and the Breezeway connecting Adventureland and Frontierland. All right, it is time to use those Disney Resort benefits of yours. Please, please, please use your extra park hours when you have them. When you stay at one of those Disney-owned hotels, as well as some Good Neighbor hotels, you'll get access to early theme park entry. This allows you to enter any park 30 minutes before the park's official opening time. So whether you're with or without Genie Plus that day, this could help you knock out pretty much all of Fantasyland or Tomorrowland, aka the sole two lands open during early theme park entry, before the park opens for the general public. Along the same lines, guests staying at one of the deluxe Disney resorts have access to extended evening hours too. This gives you up to 2 extra hours in select parks on certain nights. Just flash your room key and head in for an evening of very low wait times. Big drawback, you gotta pay for that Disney Deluxe resort, and that's not gonna be a drop in the bucket. All right, time to eat. Magic Kingdom has a plethora of dining options. You got quick service, your table service, your character dining, your castle dining, but not every option is the right fit for everyone, which is why you'll want to study up on all those dining locations beforehand and figure out exactly where you want to eat to avoid having to make those tough decisions the day of. Now, I'm about to hit you with a few suggestions that we here at DFB tend to frequent time and again, even if we don't have to. But if you want to learn about all the Magic Kingdom restaurants as well as all the other restaurants property-wide too, be sure to check out our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining over at dfbstore.com. Type in code YouTube to save some money on your total purchase. Okay, promo time is over, back to the Rex. Let's start with something light. Light is good, right? Columbia Harbor House, Casey's Corner, Sleepy Hollow refreshments, hard to pass when you're in the mood for a light lunch. You can grab an order of Casey's Corn Dog Nuggets or Harbor House's Lobster Roll or one of Sleepy Hollow's famous waffle sandwiches. Alternatively, if you do want a more hearty meal, your best option is probably Liberty Tree Tavern, where you'll essentially be eating an all-you-care-to-enjoy Thanksgiving meal. If your party's hungry but doesn't want to take any chances with the more adventurous stuff, Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe and Pinocchio Village House might be surprising crowd pleasers for your fam. These are where you're going to find those standard, more theme park menus with items like burgers and pizzas and salads and chicken strips. Alternatively, if your taste buds are begging you for more adventurous meals, your best option is going to be Skipper Canteen. This table service restaurant is located in Adventureland, and the menu here has all kinds of adventurous eats like falafel, curried vegetable stew, and the hearty hard char siu pork. And if you've got the budget for it, Cinderella's Royal Table and Be Our Guest restaurant are quintessential Magic Kingdom dining experiences. Just remember that what you're going to be paying for is the location and characters more than the quality of the eats. It's okay, it's not bad food, but the price is really, really high. That being said, both experiences are magical. How often do you get to visit Cinderella Castle, let alone dine there, or be inside the Beast's castle, which includes the Forbidden West Wing? All right, I'll stop there for now, but in general, Magic Kingdom has a lot of different options that aren't gonna leave you hungry, and if you don't end up liking any of those, you're more than welcome to pack yourself a lunch for the day and save some money. Just make sure that whatever you pack isn't kept in a glass container, doesn't need to be reheated or frozen, and doesn't have a super potent smell. Yep, that's a rule. Speaking of Cinderella's Royal Table, this is far and away the hardest advanced dining reservation to secure because there are a lot of folks out there who also want to dine like royalty during their Magic Kingdom day. So if you want to be part of the Princess Posse here, you're going to need to make sure you set those alarms on your phone to help remind you when it's time to start booking those reservations. Dining reservations open for guests 60 days before your trip kicks off. But what happens if you don't get a reservation for Cindy's? Don't give up hope just yet. Some folks may have to cancel their dining reservations before their trip, and that means you might find a last-minute advanced dining reservation on the My Disney Experience app at any time. Just keep checking. And if that doesn't work, consider an alternative royal dining experience. While we already mentioned Be Our Guest restaurant, which is a pretty stellar alternative, although it's still pretty pricey, you might also want to consider the Crystal Palace, which is a character dining buffet featuring Winnie the Pooh and friends. It's only a few steps away from Cinderella Castle. Or if you're cool with it, you may want to escape Magic Kingdom for a bit around dinner time to have drinks and dine at the ever-classy Enchanted Rose inside Grand Floridian Resort. Enchanted Rose is a first-come, first-served lounge that has elegant decor themed around Disney's live-action Beauty and the Beast film. 1900 Park Fare also could be a solid choice. That's in the Grand Floridian too. This recently reopened buffet features characters like Aladdin, Cinderella, Tiana, and Mirabelle. Or if you're still looking for more princesses inside a castle-like setting, you may have a better shot at booking a table over at Akershus Royal Banquet Hall in Epcot's Norway Pavilion. That's got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're in a castle, you get to meet a bunch of princesses, and it's cheaper than Cindy's. Towards the end of the year, Magic Kingdom hosts 2 separately ticketed after-hours holiday parties, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween from August to October, and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party from November to December. But why am I telling you to check one of these out at least once? Because the entertainment is great. Each holiday party has its own stage shows and incredible parade, fireworks that you'll only be able to see during these events. You'll also find a variety of very unique character meet and greets spread around the park, like popular favorites like Jack and Sally, all the 7 Dwarfs together, that never happens, and even Santa. On top of that, some rides will also get holiday party overlays. For Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party this year, you can expect live pirates outside of Pirates of the Caribbean, spooky lights and soundtrack for Mad Tea Party, Halloween shenanigans with the monsters over at Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor, and a pitch black, kind of creepy Space Mountain ride-through, like even darker than usual. You won't even be able to see your hand in front of your face. Holiday parties start up their festivities around 7 p.m. and typically end around midnight, so on the days that the party happens, Magic Kingdom will close early at 6 p.m. for all regular ticket guests. Party guests will be able to enter the park as early as 4 p.m. Okay, always check on the park hours. Park hours change all the time. Why? It's not to throw you off, though that can definitely be the result. It usually has to do with the time of year you visit. Parades may happen less frequently during slower times of the year. Fireworks may happen later during the summer season when the days are longer and it doesn't get dark till later. Park days could be drastically shortened to account for those after-hours holiday parties. In short, if you think you already have a good idea for what the Magic Kingdom park hours look like, check again and again and again, even on the day of your visit. We are in the parks every single day and we still sometimes get caught off guard. The last thing you want to do during your big vacation is accidentally miss out on a show you've been looking forward to or be shortchanged on your park day. So as much as I love going to Magic Kingdom, I also hate going to Magic Kingdom, which may sound like a contradiction, but if you know, you know. The easiest way to reach the front gates of Magic Kingdom is if you're staying at one of the monorail resorts like Polynesian Village, Grand Floridian, or the Contemporary, because you'll either be able to just hop aboard the monorail or walk to the park from where you're staying. Wilderness Lodge and Fort Wilderness are also fairly close to Magic Kingdom, and while they aren't within walking distance, nor are they part of the monorail line, they do have their own water taxis to and from the park. Or you can just take a bus over to Magic Kingdom like you can with the other Disney-owned resorts. But what if you're not at a Disney-owned resort? Well, things might get a little more complicated, and this is when we hate going to Magic Kingdom. Some Good Neighbor hotels will still offer complimentary bus transportation to Magic Kingdom, but these buses can't drop you off at the front of the park like Disney buses do. Instead, you'll be dropped off over at the Transportation and Ticket Center, which is like this middleman between you and the Magic Kingdom. The TTC is also where you'll park your car if you plan on driving yourself, and it's the place where your rideshare service like Uber and Lyft will drop you off and pick you up. Note though, if you book a minivan through the Lyft app, which is Disney's own rideshare service, you can still skip over the TTC entirely because they can drop you off right at the park gate. So how do you escape the Transportation and Ticket Center? Well, once you're at the TTC, you'll have to jump on a monorail or a ferry boat to make it the rest of the way to the park. Sometimes there are buses, and when there are buses, they're usually faster than either of the other options. Now, taking that extra mode of transportation might not sound like a big deal, but it can turn into one quickly when you're trying to make it to the park for a dining reservation, or you're exhausted and just want to get back to your hotel room to crash. TTC transportation gets the most packed out at the very beginning of the day, right before rope drop, and at the very end of the day, right after the fireworks. So just be prepared for some intense travel times and make sure you factor in plenty of time into your Magic Kingdom itinerary to get where you need to go so you're not late for anything. Okay, this is technically part 2 of our TTC woes, but it's too important for me to skip over. One of the most frightening moments in Disney World occurs right after the Magic Kingdom fireworks end, and you find yourself carried along in a veritable sea of humans, all trying to exit the park at the same time. But let's turn this universally dreaded experience from being downright terrifying into something a whole lot more pleasant, shall we? And to do that, we're going to want to turn toward the mobile order featured on the My Disney Experience app. Food fixes everything, right? Right. Usually mobile order is available only during park hours or during the restaurant's specific hours if that spot isn't open all day. That being said, a few spots on Main Street USA have the option to let you mobile order and pick up food past Magic Kingdom's closing times. If Magic Kingdom closes right after the fireworks go off, that is. Times may vary, but basically Main Street USA is going to stay open a little bit longer than the rest of the park, and so you can pick up mobile orders at these locations even after the park is closed. This includes Main Street Confectionery and Casey's Corner. Plaza Ice Cream Parlor also tends to stay open a little bit after park closing, but it does not use mobile order at this time. So if you find yourself caught in the huge crowds of people exiting Magic Kingdom right at the end of the fireworks show, you might be better off stepping out of the crowds and ordering some popcorn or a hot dog or ice cream from a nearby restaurant. Or better yet, order the food earlier in the day and set the pickup time for later on at night so that you're all set to just head into the restaurant once the last firework goes off above Cinderella Castle. That way you won't run out of time to make the order before the windows fill up. Once the initial wave of people has exited the park, you'll likely have a much less stressful trip home, and you'll have slipped in one last Magic Kingdom snack for the day and probably been able to watch a whole bunch of people shuffle their way out of the park, probably yelling at each other because that's what happens at the end of a Magic Kingdom day for a lot of the families, and you'll just be sitting there eating your peanut butter cookie pie, which makes me so happy. Yes, now we're getting to the really important stuff. I've got 3 top secret bathrooms to share with you today. And by top secret, I mean these bathrooms are typically a lot less crowded than the ones inside major restaurants or next to popular attractions. Are you ready? Private restroom number 1 inside Columbia Harbor House. There's literally an entire upstairs seating area in this quick service location, but so many people don't know about it, and yet it's some of the best dining seating in all of Magic Kingdom, especially if you find a table by the window and do some people watching. But even lesser known than the upstairs seating is the upstairs bathroom. You'll have to march to the back corner of the restaurant to find it, but they're usually pretty quiet and fairly clean. Potty number 2, right next to Gaston's Tavern. Listen to me carefully, walk past Enchanted Tales with Belle and Be Our Guest restaurant here to find Gaston's Tavern and Bonjour Village gifts. Here you're going to find some of, if not the, most private restrooms in the Fantasyland area. This area is also nice because it tends to be pretty chill and there's a fair amount of seating around for your family and friends to wait while, everyone does their thing. And private restroom number 3 at Tomorrowland Terrace. I'm not talking about stopping at the potties outside of this ghost town of a restaurant. I'm talking about stopping at the ones inside because they are still open. Go up the ramp and inside the old restaurant for a quieter bathroom experience. The one time this trick doesn't work is in the evening, since Tomorrowland Terrace hosts the fireworks dessert parties for Happily Ever After. So if you want to use these bathrooms when they're empty, do it during the day. So why have a good ride on a Magic Kingdom attraction when you can have a great ride? When you get to the front of a ride line, feel free to tell a cast member about your seating preference and they might be able to accommodate your hopes and dreams. Some rides, like roller coasters, will even have a separate line for front row seating. While you may have to wait a little bit longer before you can board the attraction, these lines can grant your seating preference if you're patient. The key word here, patient. Know it, practice it, live your best life with it. But which ride seats are worth waiting for? Let's review. On the Jungle Cruise, the best seat in the house is closer to the front of the boat. This will help you hear the jokes better and you can interact with your skipper. On Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, thrill seekers will love the back row because it offers you a faster ride while you plummet down the hills and turns. But kids who are wary of roller coasters might like it near the front row better because it's a little more relaxed and feels a little bit slower. Same thing goes for Barnstormer to an extent, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and Space Mountain. The best experience for kids who are scared of coasters is to sit in the front row. Though it might be intimidating at first, the front row is a little less speedy and can help kiddos see what's ahead of them a bit more. Well, except for Space Mountain. Pretty hard to see anything during that ride, but that's kind of the point. On many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, place little ones in the front so they don't have to be blocked by tall adults. The front row also gets a fun interactive element in the Heffalumps and Woozles scene, which kids either love or will be totally intimidated by. Finding the perfect Festival of Fantasy parade viewing spot in Disney World is a fine art. But since we're in Magic Kingdom pretty much every single day, we've got this fine art down to a science. Am I allowed to mix school subjects like that? We're gonna do it anyway. The current Festival of Fantasy route runs from Frontierland, next to Pecos Bill Tall Tale Inn and Cafe, to the end of Main Street USA, ending by the fire station. Commonly, this parade happens twice daily, around noon and 3. But fun fact, you can actually technically watch it 4 times in a day if you're committed. And by that, I mean you can likely watch the parade twice each showing, just as long as you pick the right viewing spots to begin with. To start, you'll want to stake out a viewing location in either Frontierland or Liberty Square, preferably on the Country Bear Jamboree or Liberty Tree Tavern or Ye Olde Christmas Shop side of the parade route. Since the parade starts in Frontierland, you'll be among the first to watch it. The performance moves pretty slowly down the route, so our tip relies on you being able to outwalk the parade to the front of the park. Once you've watched it in Frontierland or Liberty Square, you'll want to use the shortcut I mentioned earlier, the one that cuts behind Ye Olde Christmas Shop, and once you make it over to Casey's Corner, you can head inside to cut through the Emporium, because the Magic Kingdom's most popular gift shop is a little emptier during the parade, and you can walk all the way through the shop and it'll deposit you at the end of the parade route, where you'll get a great view of the floats heading backstage by the fire station. Hot dog! Let's become best buddies with our favorite Disney TV show and movie characters. But where do we find these guys? Here, let me help you out with that. On Main Street USA, you can meet Mickey at Town Square Theater. In Fantasyland, you can meet Disney princesses in Princess Fairy Tale Hall. The princesses here rotate out often, but tend to include characters like Rapunzel, Tiana, Cinderella, and Elena of Avalor. Peter Pan tends to chill outside his ride, Peter Pan's Flight. Winnie the Pooh and Tigger do the same, chilling outside their ride at the Thoughtful Spot. Then there's the daring Disney pals at Pete's Silly Sideshow in Storybook Circus, featuring Minnie Magnifique, Daisy Fortuna, the astounding Donaldo, and the great Goofini. You can meet the Little Mermaid from the animated story at Ariel's Grotto, and for a newer meet and greet experience, you can chat with Mirabelle from Encanto over at Fairy Tale Gardens. While it's not a traditional meet and greet, there's a wonderful character experience and photo opportunity with Belle during Enchanted Tales with Belle, which you can also find in Fantasyland. Chip and Dale like to roam around the rivers of America in Frontierland. Stitch pops up and makes appearances in Tomorrowland, and over in Adventureland, Aladdin and Jasmine hang out at Agrabah Bazaar. Sometimes they're out and they actually ride the flying carpets in the morning. And Captain Jack Sparrow charms fellow pirates in passing right across from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Now, would you believe me if I told you that's not all the characters you can potentially meet during your Magic Kingdom day, because I'm not pulling your leg. Throughout the day, you never know exactly who you'll encounter, so be sure to check My Disney Experience and the Times Guide for characters, because you might just stumble upon characters you were least expecting, like Anastasia and Drizella, Mary Poppins, the Country Bears, and more. So if you're tired of tracking down hidden Mickeys, I've got another scavenger hunt-like activity you'll want to take on with your fam at Magic Kingdom. Track down all the tiny secret doors. Aw, Disney, how'd you know I'm obsessed with miniature items? Yeah, it turns out Magic Kingdom has a collection of tiny hidden doors, and while we don't understand the origins for all of them, probably electrical, we do like finding them, and we think you will too. So let's go on a mini door hunt. To start out, we got this regal-looking door hidden in the wall surrounding Cinderella Castle. Looks as though it's been specially designed to fit with the castle architecture, complete with a lock and a spot for a key, so it's likely an access door for something like plumbing or storage area. Perhaps the most iconic tiny door is this wooden one behind Bonjour Village Gifts. It's tucked away in the bathroom area by Gaston's Tavern, and it fits the classic fairy tale design of the area with its rough-hewn wood and rusted lock. For our next tiny door, we're heading across the park to Frontierland. You actually have to get in a ride queue to spot this one, since it's located on the second floor of the Frontierland train station in the room with the benches. Our next door actually has a theme. Located on the side of the new Critter Co-op gift shop, this door was originally themed to Brer Rabbit's home back when Splash Mountain was still around. Now the mailbox out front has been painted to say Laurie, which is one of the characters introduced for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And last but not least, we've got to honor one of Disney's tiniest characters with the addition of Smellephants on Parade in Magic Kingdom. Disney added a tiny door to the new ticket booth in front of Big Top Treats. It has Timothy Q. Mouse's profile on it, so we can only assume it's made for him. Make sure to look out for it the next time you're in the park. Okay, we are back again to talk about food. Does this shock you in the slightest? Of course not. Again, much like I said about the Magic Kingdom restaurants, there are so many different snacks to choose from here. From sweet to savory to sour to spicy to downright refreshing. Sorry, broke the S alliteration there at the end. So, like before, I'm going to give you a few of our favorite suggestions for now. But if you want to learn more about our top snacks in not just Magic Kingdom, but every Disney World park, including detailed maps to help you track down each treat once you're there, snack maps, make sure to scan the QR code you see on the screen now or head to disneyfoodblog.com/bestsnacks to pick up our free 2024 Best Snack Guide today. All right, now let's get back to your regularly scheduled snack recs. First, we're heading back to Columbia Harbor House to pick up a side order of those golden balls of goodness hush puppies. These little guys are just a tiny bit sweet, like the perfect amount of sweet, and have full chunks of corn inside that fluffy breaded center. Love them, get them, thank me later. Dole Whips are basically a rite of passage for all Disney-going folks, and you can pick one up either in its standard pineapple flavor or a different flavor entirely at Aloha Isle and or Sunshine Tree Terrace, both in Adventureland. Storybook Treats in Fantasyland might also have some sort of Dole Whip delicacy for you to try, so don't skip over that little counter service when you're on the hunt for a nice cold treat to help beat the heat. We actually just tried a new treat here. It was lemon Dole Whip in Cherry Coke Float. Really good. And speaking of cold treats, I highly recommend trying the All-American Sundae at the Plaza Ice Cream Parlor. This has been one of my favorites for years. This is a simple execution done splendidly, comprised of old-fashioned vanilla and chocolate ice cream topped with hot fudge, peanut butter drizzle, whipped cream, and a beautiful red cherry on top. Okay, look, Magic Kingdom's outdoor rides are a good time, no matter what time of day you ride them, but if you happen to ride them once the sun goes down, your experience can be completely different and maybe even better. How? Well, let me show you. Astro Orbiter in Tomorrowland gives you aerial views of Magic Kingdom all lit up at night. It is beautiful. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train feel all the more thrilling when you're riding in the dark. Plus, if you can time your ride through just right, you might be able to catch the happily ever after fireworks from a super unique vantage point. And Jungle Cruise is pretty cool to ride at night because of the way certain areas are lit around the water and animatronics. It's sort of harder to see things, but that's almost not a bad thing because it adds a little more mystery and eeriness to the ride. But the absolute coolest ride to experience after nightfall is Tron Light Cycle Run, because a nighttime ride on that high-speed coaster means you get to see that digital canopy grid all lit up with those bright blue and orange synchronized lights. And it's honestly one of the best parts of the entire ride. Unfortunately though, because of the virtual queue system right now, you can't really guarantee a nighttime ride on this one. And while requesting a spot during the 1 p.m. slot is more likely to get you a later time, there's no guarantee that it will. Your best bet of guaranteeing a nighttime ride is purchasing an individual lightning lane for it. Unlike Genie Plus lightning lanes, where you take whatever's available return time wise, you can choose your return time for individual lightning lanes, meaning you might be able to book a return time after the sun sets for the ultimate nighttime ride through, if you're okay with budgeting back for an individual lightning lane in the first place. ILLs for Tron tend to range in price around $20 per person per ride through, which can add up pretty quickly, especially with a larger group. Alright, if you're looking for a Magic Kingdom attraction with little to no wait, a place where you can sit down in the AC for a bit, and a totally fun immersive Disney experience, then don't skip out on the indoor shows throughout Magic Kingdom. These attractions include shows like Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress, Hall of Presidents, PhilharMagic, Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, and typically Country Bear Jamboree, though that show is currently being reimagined into Country Bear Musical Jamboree at the moment, meaning it'll open with a whole new act later on this summer. Initially, I think the new show will have a pretty steady crowd when it first opens, but after a few months or so, the hype should start to die down. It'll be easier for you to just slip into the theater like you used to, without a lot of other guests to worry about. So were all you longtime DFE subscribers surprised that I didn't bring up the warm cinnamon roll from Gaston's Tavern when I was talking about the best Magic Kingdom snacks earlier? Well, that's because I wanted to give this massive Cinny roll its own point in the video. That's how good it is. The warm cinnamon roll from Gaston's Tavern is exactly what it sounds like. It's a giant swirled pastry of cinnamony doughy goodness with a generous helping of ooey gooey icing on top. But if you're like me, 1 cup of icing doesn't cut it. And if that's the case, just ask a cast member for an extra cup when you're ordering. More than likely, they'll happily oblige. And before you go, AJ, wouldn't extra icing make this too sweet? Just remember that life is short and extra icing just equals extra happiness in the end. Disney's all about the wish granting and wish making, so it's no surprise that you can make several wishes throughout your day in Magic Kingdom. Take pixie dusting, for instance. This is a free experience that happens in the Sir Mickey's gift shop and Bonjour Village gifts in Fantasyland. When you're pixie dusted, a cast member will ask you to close your eyes, make a wish, and then they'll use a magic wand to sprinkle you with glitter and sparkles and magic, all while wishing that your deepest, bestest dreams come true. Want to double your wish chances? Consider throwing a coin in Cinderella's wishing well. You can find this well tucked in an alcove on the pathway from Tomorrowland to the right of the castle. Now, this wish-making strategy is really special because all of the coins tossed into the well are actually collected and donated to children's charities in Orlando. So yes, wishes really are granted by this magical well. And don't forget about the Blue Fairies Wish Book, where you can write down your wish for safekeeping. This book is located in Pinocchio Village House. I know, weird place, random fast food restaurant. Just track down the blue window in the main dining room and you'll find the book open and waiting for you to record your wishes. So I'd be a hypocrite if I told you I never, ever, ever got a Starbucks treat when I went to Magic Kingdom. It's hard for me to stay away from some of those refreshers, and when they used to serve the Wendell's Bear Claw here, I always got it. But if you're someone who needs their Starbies fix during the day, here are the times when you're gonna want to avoid the Main Street Bakery, which is of course where Starbucks is sold at Magic Kingdom. First, at park opening. We know, you need your coffee and you need it stat, but that's how everyone else feels about their morning cup of joe too, which means Starbucks lines in the morning can be way longer than even the ride lines. Instead, you may be better off grabbing coffee at the Joffrey's kiosk in Tomorrowland or at one of the other quick service locations that brews it fresh daily. Just type in coffee in your My Disney Experience app search engine. You should be able to find all the different locations that sell it. 2, when it's raining. There's nothing quite like sipping on a cozy cup of coffee in the rain, and it can definitely be a little pick-me-up when those pitter-patters have put a damper on your day, but heading to Main Street Bakery during this time could put a damper on your day even further when the line starts to get ridiculously long with other guests who are also seeking cover and caffeine at the same time. And 3, right before Festival of Fantasy. Since Festival of Fantasy Parade takes place all the way down Main Street, folks will already be gathering in clumps around this area. Toss in the tantalizing smell of those delicious coffee beans and the parade goers are suddenly going to become coffee goers too. That being said, shortly after the Festival of Fantasy Parade, the crowds tend to disperse into other lands outside of Main Street USA, making it a much better time to swoop into the shop and grab your precious mocha frappuccino once and for all. If dining inside the Cinderella Castle, or the Crystal Palace for that matter, wasn't enough of a royal treatment for you, you can feel even more special depending on what time you book a reservation at either one of these locations. If you snag a breakfast reservation for the first time slot of the day, then you'll get the chance to enter the park before anyone else does. This gives you the opportunity to see that big castle reveal down Main Street USA when the streets are practically empty. It can also give you the ability to snap some fantastic photos without any other guests photobombing your view. So Dumbo the Flying Elephant is one of those rare rides where the queue might actually be more entertaining than the ride itself. And that's because the queue here doubles as a full-on play place for kids. Instead of standing in line, bored out of their skulls, kids can slide and climb and play under the big top out of the sun and in the AC. As the kids play, the adults will be given a pager, and when it's their time to ride, the pager will go off, playtime will wrap up, and the Flying Elephant ride begins. It's a great system. And number 25 on our list is the People Mover. That's it. That's literally all you need to do in Magic Kingdom. Just ride People Mover over and over again until you slip into a state of pure zen and wonder. But in all seriousness, the People Mover really is legit. It's this easygoing ride that carts you over the top of Tomorrowland and through some of its iconic attractions like Space Mountain and Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. This is one of those rides that rarely ever has a super long wait during the day. So if the wait time is posted for 20 minutes plus, just know it should chill out later on. So just wait things out and go do something else for a bit until the queue is more reasonable. Other Magic Kingdom rides that tend to not rack up super duper high waits during the day, on an average crowd level day that is, include Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid, Tomorrowland Speedway, Prince Charming Regal Carousel, the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Mad Tea Party, Liberty Square Riverboat, It's a Small World, Barnstormer, and Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Now, yes, I have seen these rides with hour-long waits before too, but usually on a typical crowd level day, these are going to be your less packed rides along with those shows that I mentioned earlier. But again, People Mover, let's just go ride it. Okay, all this Magic Kingdom talk makes me want to go there like right now and get extra cinnamon roll icing while I'm at it. We have got so much more to talk about when it comes to Magic Kingdom though, especially when it comes to the future of Magic Kingdom. So stay tuned for future park updates and don't forget to download our free guide to the best snacks around Disney World for 2024 with those snack maps by heading to disneyfoodblog.com/bestsnacks right now. Thanks for listening everyone, and thanks for watching. Be sure to let me know what you think we should always do in Magic Kingdom. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.